We know, don't we, and we have this developing sense in recent years that a band of fat around the tummy, around the waist, is no good thing.
Yeah, it's not new information. I think what this study has shown is that they've collected a lot of information, and it's proved what we as clinicians have already kind of known. And I think common sense knows that having a bit of a belly isn't really good for your health.
What's the connection specifically with prostate cancer, which, as we remember, as we've been told in recent years, is, I was going to call it the silent killer of so many men. It's not so silent anymore, is it? We do know about it, but the numbers are huge.
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, this is something that's personally very important to me because my granddad died of prostate cancer. And we know that certain ethnic groups and people with family histories are more likely to get it. It's not the silent killer anymore because people are talking about it. The connection to prostate cancer is new, but we kind of suspected that already because we know that cancer, overall cancer for anyone who has excess fat increases. What we're realizing now is that fat isn't just a storage. We know it's active and it's constantly producing inflammation, and that increases your risk of cancer. And
you get very often the sort of pot belly of cartoon depiction. I mean, often on men who aren't otherwise obese or fat, but they've got the pot belly. I mean, are there as much risk as larger men?
Yes. In fact, we realise now, and that's the real change in information, that it's not about the peripheral fat, it's the central fat. We call it central obesity. And that is the most important. The fat that's around the organs is the one that's the most, we call it metabolic active. What that means is that it affects the whole of your body, the fat around your abdomen.
Do they call it visceral fat, Amos? Is that
Yeah, viscera means organ. Yeah.
So it's as you say, and the inflammation's interesting as well because that's not something we associate with what's happening inside our bodies. Inflammation's never a good thing, is it?
Exactly, it isn't. In this context, it's what increases the risk. Like I said, we used to think that fat was just a storage unit; it was harmless. But now we know that it produces hormones, it produces inflammation, and that's the real risk moving forward. And I mean, you mentioned that cutting out the beer, but I mean, I don't want to be the bringer of bad news, but anything in moderation and losing weight is always the best way for patients who are carrying a little bit more around the midriff.
We were just talking in the studio about whether COVID has made this worse. I mean, the presumption would be it has, and it's always interesting, this spot where we talk to an NHS GP about what's coming through your doors. Is obesity a bigger problem than it was 2 years ago? And is there a connection, do you think, with COVID?
I think the awareness of obesity has gone up. I think people were aware since COVID that they've been less active. I'm seeing more of it, but 7 out of 10 people in the UK are overweight, and that's BMI. But really and truly, we're missing a lot of the people who you mentioned before who are slim but are carrying a lot of weight around the abdomen. And there's the ones that need to be targeted for this report. And we can improve their health. 1,300 deaths of men can be prevented by reducing that.